They say inheritance is a kind of memory, one passed not through stories, but through soil and shoreline. You want to know what that really means. Picture this. You wake up one morning and find out your grandfather's lake, the one he dug out with his bare hands, the one where you learned to swim and built every dock yourself, has been quietly transformed into some HOA's weekend playground complete with security guards, booking codes, and a private access sign so shiny you can see your own dumbfounded face in it. Yeah, that happened. And if you think I'm exaggerating, just hang on. See, Whisper Lake wasn't just mined by paper. It was mined by blood, by sweat, by all those long hot summers fixing planks and clearing brush alongside Grandpa Eli. He spent 50 years making that patch of North Georgia wild into something livable. When he died, he left it to me 50 acres cupped around that crescent lake. He also left me a responsibility no one takes lightly. Now, I never built my life around that lake. I'm a hydrology consultant by trade, work with forest infrastructure, wetlands, all that. I live about an hour south in Gainesville. Whisper Lake, though, that was my sanctuary. My little escape and oddly a sort of unofficial community hub. I kept it open, you know. Always did. The rule was simple. Respect the land, and you can enjoy it. Families picnicked, folks fished from my docks, local churches, even baptized folks in the water sometimes. There were no permits, no bureaucracy, just don't trash the place. And it worked. People respected it because they saw I cared. And let's be honest, nobody wanted to see me mad stomping down to the water with my tool belt and a stare that could bend a nail. Now, about 5 years back, my old college buddy Clay comes to me with what he calls a gentle gold mine. He wants to lease a strip near the road and put up a handful of rustic cabins. Nothing corporate, no neon, just wood gravel, a swing here or there. Sell peace and quiet, he says, like it's bottled water. I wasn't keen on commercializing, but Clay promised no one touches the lake. I keep all rights, all shoreline. He just gets the upper strip. We drew up a sharp lease, clear boundaries, everything signed, notarized, and filed. Clay did a great job. His cabins were simple, cozy, never an eyesore. His guests got a taste of peace, but they followed my rules: respect the lake, it's not ours to own. Things rolled along. A few summers went by, and suddenly there's a new development cropping up over the southern ridge. Big homes, manicured lawns, those names like Willow Crest and Pine Hollow Point. Classic HOA territory. I minded my own business, kept doing maintenance mowing, repainting gazebos, and picking up after weekends. New neighbors were fine. Sometimes they rented Clay's cabins for family reunions. Nobody acted like they owned the place, at least not at first. But let me tell you something about peace. It's just what you have right before someone decides they deserve more than what they've been given. I hadn't been back to the lake for almost half a year. Work had taken me out to Mississippi on a forest contract. By the time I got home, I was running on fumes and bad gas station coffee. Instead of going straight home, I swung up north to Whisper Lake, figuring I'd catch the dusk on the old dock. But when I pulled up there, it was the gate. I mean, an honest-to-God 12-foot iron gate with security lights, stone pillars, and a keypad like someone had airlifted it straight from a country club. Right in the center, private access. HOA members and resort guests only. No trespassing. For a second, I thought maybe I was losing my mind. Then out stepped two, security guards from a booth that definitely wasn't there before, matching uniforms, radios, the whole bit. "Evening, sir," one says, like he's about to offer me a timeshare. "Can we help you?" "Yeah, you can open that gate. This is my property." I was already half laughing, but not in a good way. They exchange a look, the kind you give your buddy when your uncle starts rambling about government mind control at Thanksgiving. "Sir, this access road is restricted. If you're not a member of Willow Rest HOA or a registered guest at Whisper Ridge Resort, you'll need to turn around." It took me a second to process that. "I'm Seth Camden," I say. "I own this lake, the shoreline, the road you're standing on. I built those docks with my own hands. Unless you two bought 50 acres in the last 6 months, you're going to open the gate. They just pressed their radio. Dispatch got a non-authorized individual claiming to be the landowner, requesting admin contact. I almost lost it right there, not because it was funny, but because otherwise I'd end up in the local paper's mugshot lineup. I backed up, cut down the old maintenance trail Grandpa and I used for hauling lumber and parked under the pines, walked out, and there it was, a shiny new HOA branded sign, Lake Use authorized by Willow Crest HOA. Scan code to reserve picnic areas. And under that, a laminated list of dues and permitted activities. I just about cracked a tooth from grinding my jaw. Then I saw the docks. My docks. Restained, renumbered with keypad locks and little HOA logos burned into metal plates. I walked down the line. Every dock had a lock. Every dock was rentable. I ran into a couple on one. Hey, if we're supposed to check out with the app or is it automatic, they ask. You paid to use this dock. Yeah, HOA rental. Didn't even know this place existed until it popped up online. You a worker? A worker at my own lake. I started recording everything. The signs, the docks, the locks, the stupidity. Rage came on slow cold. Not the kind that boils over, but the kind that sits heavy, like someone changed the locks on your house and then asked you to show ID. I stood on the shore water, glassy and still, and realized I'd just been exiled from my own land. Didn't sleep much that night. By dawn, I had every document I owned on Whisper Lake laid out on the kitchen table, deeds, plats, leases, photos. I headed to Clay's place, dropped the whole file on his counter so hard the spoons rattled. Clay, they locked down my lake, my docks, my road. You got private security turning me away. You know about this. He looked like he'd swallowed a mouthful of bees. I thought you knew, man. Willow Crest came to me a few months ago, wanted to help with maintenance. Put in lights, share costs, enhance the lake. Did you read the paperwork? I skimmed it. I pulled out a scanned PDF from the HOA's website, a joint use addendum supposedly signed by Clay, giving up all shoreline and dock access. He squinted. This isn't what I signed. That signature, hell, it looks copied. Because it was. I snapped. They cloned your signature from our lease and pasted it onto this fake addendum. They redrew the boundaries to swallow my entire eastern shoreline. Clay was shaking. I didn't know. I thought it was just for maintenance. I figured the HOA reached out to you. They never did. Now I've got guests thinking they own the dock's security turning me away and fake documents floating around like confetti. Who's the HOA lawyer? He mutters Garrett Oldridge, some legal consultant for them. That name landed like a dead fish in the sun. Oldridge had a reputation bounced from the DA's office for ethics violations, now specializing in municipal negotiation. A fixer, the kind who makes gray areas vanish. Get me everything I said. Emails, receipts, every damn conversation, because this wasn't just some neighborly misunderstanding, this was a setup. If that forged agreement hit county zoning, I could lose the land outright. I spent 72 hours building a war file, documents, maps, emails, everything annotated. Monday, I sat down with Melody King, property rights attorney and ex-military. Her office smelled like coffee and closing arguments. She flipped through the file. Deeds clean. You own that lake outright. The rest fraud. And uploading forged docs makes a paper trail we can hit. We're filing 2 lawsuits, one against Clay for violating the lease, one against Willarest HOA for fraud, trespass, and commercial activity on private land. I breathed out. Good. She added. And Oldridge. If there's collusion with the county, this could go criminal. She was right. The deeper I dug, the uglier it got. My zoning update had been stonewalled for months by a guy named Randy Mellows. Turns out he and Oldridge were old law school buddies. That night I went back to the lake and tested the water. Nitrates were up, way up. Traced it to 3 unmarked chemical containers hidden in landscaping along the shore. Herbicide runoff, maybe even gray water discharge. Sent photos and samples to a friend at the state environmental office. Within a day, she called me. You're dealing with illegal dumping. I'm forwarding this to enforcement. Great. Now, they weren't just stealing my land, they were poisoning it. 3 days after Melody filed suit, a local paper picked up the story, "Dispute bruises over Whisper Lake. Private owner alleges fraud." The phones blew up, radio, TV, bloggers. I kept it simple. I owned the land, never sold it, and someone forged signatures to steal it. Former guests came forward posting receipts and booking emails from the HOA Premium Lakeside Access exclusive Whisper Lake amenity, all of it a lie. Then the hammer dropped. The Department of Environmental Protection announced illegal dumping at Whisper Lake, a health hazard to both wildlife and people. Melody moved fast, filed for an emergency injunction, got state investigators on site. They found the chemicals, the fake contracts, and a dinner receipt with Clay Oldridge and Mellows. The zoning guy meeting just weeks before the forged documents appeared. That court session was something else. Melody tore the HOA's case to shreds, laid out forged signatures, doctored maps, the whole deal. When the judge asked for an original wet ink contract, the HOA lawyer just looked at his shoes. The judge wasn't amused. Next came the environmental report state certified no wiggle room. Unmarked containers run off, all trace to land the HOA claimed to beautify. Melody summed it up. This is a coordinated effort to absorb private property, monetize it, and poison it for profit. Then she handed over the dinner receipt, Clay Oldridge Mellows. The judge looked like he wanted to eat the bench. By day's end, here's how it shook out. The joint use agreement was ruled fraudulent and void. The HOA was ordered to halt all activities within 500 feet of the lake and was fined nearly $500,000 for restoration damages and costs. A warrant went out for Oldridge for forgery and conspiracy, and Mellows was suspended pending a state investigation. Clay lost his lease but kept his neck. He handed over all his records and walked away. The cabins defaulted to me. No big celebration. The next morning, I stood by my truck as a backhoe ripped out the gate, crushed the security booth, and dumped it all into a flatbed. The court order was clear, all fake signs, locks, and docks removed. The lake was mine again, but there was still work to do, rebuilding trust, restoring what mattered. First, I hired Bud Harris, a retired forest ranger with a face like carved pine, to be my on-site manager. His only job, keep things honest. We installed cameras not to scare folks, but to catch trouble if it ever came back. Bud patrolled every day with a coffee thermos and a don't mess with me attitude people respected. The chemical dumping had damaged the banks, so I brought in a restoration crew, planted native grasses, tore out every ornamental shrub the HOA had planted. Cattails, dogwood, iris. Slowly the birds came back. The frogs, too. It felt like breathing after a storm. Biggest change. I opened a simple website, no ads, no fees. Just a code of conduct and a place to request access. If you respected the land you got in. If not, well, try the HOA pool next door. Most folks were grateful. Some even came back to apologize. One woman, Sharon, asked if she could bring her son to fish. I said yes. The kid didn't do anything wrong. On weekends, I'd walk the shoreline. No more QR codes, no locks, just people being people. The cabins became the honest cabins, booked by Bud, managed by hand, each one named for a native tree. Every guest signed a simple promise. You are a guest, not an owner. Respect the land or leave. No one argued. About 3 weeks after the last lock hit the dump, I got a glossy flyer in the mail. Willow Crest, a community in renewal. New HOA board, new vision, same pride. No mention of Whisper Lake. Not a word about the lawsuit, the fines, or the poisoned water. Just a stock photo of a smiling family. The next Saturday, I threw what I called the Not an HOA picnic. No sign-up, no wristbands, just a grill, a cooler, and anyone who wanted to come. Bud grilled ribs. I made lemonade that could strip paint, and the kids ran wild down the shore. A few Willow Rest folks showed up quietly, helping clean up. No speeches, just neighbors. Toward the end, a little boy walked up, maybe 8 tackle box in hand. Mr. Camden, do you really own the lake? I looked out at the water, calm, alive, and smiled. I take care of it. That's close enough. He nodded, ran off, yelling about frogs, and the sun dipped low over a lake, finally at peace. Bud passed me a cold beer and clinked his bottle to mine. No HOA, he muttered. Nope, I said and meant it. Let's keep it that way. So let me ask you, where's the line between ownership and stewardship, between community and control? Drop a comment below. Tell me what you'd do if someone tried to swipe your land right out from under you, or share your own HOA story. And if you believe in standing up for what's right, even when the paperwork gets messy, hit like subscribe for more stories, and hey, watch your shoreline. You never know who's watching it for you.